Hi, everyone. Good to see you all today. Today we are focusing on mental health for the month of August that we're in now. We're going to be focusing on neuroplasticity. So I'm really excited. It's one of my favorite mental health areas to focus on, especially in connection with movement. So for today, for our neuroplasticity topic, we're going to be talking about motor learning and coordination, and kind of integrating those into allowing our brain to grow and our body to move as we go through our mental health on the mat lunch break today. Um, as a reminder, you can always take your shoes off to get started for today and begin to wiggle your toes, bring some awareness into your feet. We'll start with a meditation, then we'll move on to some chair yoga. Today, I have a little stool to do my chair yoga on. If you're at your office desk, you'll just want to make sure you scoot back away from your desk so you have room to move. Um, and we're going to get started with some movement today. So you can go ahead and place your hands on your knees if you're on your chair, um, or on the floor. Both moves will work for today. And we're going to start gently just by rolling our necks, bringing our left ear to our left shoulder, gently rolling around, right ear to right shoulder, trying to counteract some of that body position that develops when we hunch over at our desks when we're working all day. Switching directions, pausing anywhere that feels a little sticky, and just gently moving through that spot. As always, with our movements today, all bodies are going to look differently. So, however your body wants to do the movement is perfect. Go ahead and bring your neck back to a still point. We're going to inhale, reach our arms up overhead, and exhale, pulling our right arm over to the left side, opening on our right side body. And you can again bring in some movement with the neck, looking down, looking up. Inhaling, returning to center, exhaling, pulling over to the other side, and bringing in again some of that neck movement. Inhaling, arms up, exhaling, letting your arms come down to the side. Um, so today for our meditation on neuroplasticity, we're going to be using some guided imagery, um, and an embodiment technique to align what is happening in our mind with what is happening in our body. So when we think of neuroplasticity, we're thinking of creating more neurons to be able to align what's happening in our brain with what's happening in our body to create kind of a more whole-brained experience. So find a comfortable seated position. You can close your eyes if it helps to be more present in the moment. You can leave your eyes open and soften your gaze if you're in your work environment. And just begin by noticing your breath. Let everything else go for the moment. There's nothing to do right now. Just breathe. Begin to build some awareness of where your body is in space. Notice the way the chair feels beneath you, or the ground feels beneath you. Notice which points in your body are receiving a little bit of pressure from gravity. And begin to notice, in particular, your arms. If your arms are resting on your knees, begin to notice the weight of your arms on your knees. Or in your lap, or by your side. Keeping your arms where they are. On your next inhale, imagine in your mind's eye your arms raising up slowly to reach overhead. And on your exhale, visualize your imaginary arms gently floating down, returning back to the place where your arms really exist. This time, on your next inhale, use your mind's eye again to let your imaginary arms slowly float upwards until they're raised above your head. Let them stay there. And on an inhale or an exhale, wherever you're at with your breath, let your real arms float upwards to match and meet where your imaginary arms are. Take a breath in when your arms are in alignment with your imaginary arms, and exhale, bring both your real arms and your imaginary arms back down to your sides. We're going to try this again one more time. This time you can choose whatever position your arms want to be in. You'll breathe in. First, just imagine in your mind's eye your arms moving gently and slowly wherever they want to move. On either an inhale or an exhale, bring your real arms to meet where your imaginary arms were positioned. Take an inhale to really let them line up. And exhale, release both your imaginary arms and your real arms back down to your side. Doing this again, this time you can add in a foot, you can add in a leg, you can stand, whatever part of your body wants to move. First, just noticing your breath. Then letting your imaginary body move how it wants to move. And then allowing your real body to match your imaginary body. Breathe to fully let those two bodies line up. And then exhale, returning everything back to a comfortable seated position. Today, with our neuroplasticity, we'll be playing with a few different concepts, but focusing mainly on motor learning and coordination. We'll be doing a little bit of balancing. The moment where you reach the edge of your balance and you're about to fall is a moment where your brain is like, oh, I need something to make it out of this situation. And so it starts to build new neurons to help you make it through the next moment. So we'll be playing with a little bit around the edge of our balance. We'll be doing some brain gymnastics and fine motor coordination, so engaging our hands in order to stimulate our brain growth. And we'll also be doing some proprioception and awareness, so noticing our extremities and drawing them close to our body so that we begin to notice and begin to be aware of where we are in space as we move. So it's bringing on our analytical brain, bringing on our left brain as we also engage our right brain to really get those two sides of our hemisphere working together to help build some of those synapses. So I'm going to transition to our seated flow for today. I'll be sitting in my chair there. You are welcome to do this on the floor, and I'll cue for how you can do it on the floor. Or if you are at your work today, then you can also do it seated at your desk. So just making sure you have a little bit of room for yourself at your desk. We're going to start today by bringing in again an awareness of our neck and the way that we might sit when we're at our desk, usually when we're hunched over. So you can even just imagine that you have a laptop or a computer in front of you and notice how you normally sit. So I normally sit with a little bit leaned forward, not too much of a curve. And what I want to do is bring this position just into alignment with gravity. So I'm going to notice when I'm in this position, it takes a lot of energy from my body to hold my body here. And I want to lessen the weight, lessen the impact on my muscles. So I'm gonna just sit up a little bit straighter, finding the balance point where my muscles engage the least. So I might rock side to side, forward, back, until I find the place where I don't have to use my strength to hold myself up, but just the weight of gravity and the alignment of my bones is holding my posture in place. Same for your head. You can roll your head in a couple different directions until you begin to find that space with micro movements where the alignment of your bones is in the alignment of gravity. And that's where, with the natural way your body is shaped, your body wants to be seated in order to not have to kind of carry the weight of carrying your body. So starting in that position, we're going to disrupt it a little bit and bring in some movement. So right ear to right shoulder, tuck your chin to your chest, left ear to left shoulder, and start moving our neck. Going very slowly is not to injure our necks. We're going to start to add in our upper body by rolling our shoulders back and then dropping our shoulders down to bring this rolling stretch into our upper back. Adding in a bit more movement, adding in some movement from the mid back. And if it's available to you in your chair today, you can add some movement in the low back. Slow, gentle circles. And going in the opposite direction. Starting with big circles. And making them smaller and smaller. Using just your upper body and shoulders. And then just your neck. And finally coming to stillness. Scooting yourself forward so that you're at the edge of your chair. You're gonna inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, open to the left side, right arm forward, left arm back. Gaze over your left shoulder. Inhale, both arms up. And exhaling, twisting, opening to the right. Inhale, both arms up. Exhaling, opening your arms out to the side. Imagining a string on the back of your hands, pulling your arms together, squeezing with your shoulder blades behind you. Breathing to open in the front of your chest. Exhaling to squeeze those shoulder blades. Arms stay straight. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to wrap your arms in front of you. And stretch out that space in between your shoulder blades, giving yourself a hug. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. Exhale, roll your body forward. Coming into a forward fold. Arms bent in your lap. Just let your head hang. Inhaling back up through center. This time, if you have space and there are not arms in the way of your chair, you can open your legs as wide as it feels comfortable for right now. We're going to inhale, raise our arms up to the sky. Exhale, drop our right arm down to the ground. Left arm is going to stay long, reaching towards the sky. Inhale, both arms up to the sky, returning to neutral. Exhaling, dropping your left arm, right arm stays long, reaching towards the sky. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, both arms down. You can shake them out. Bringing your knees back together, still at the edge of your chair. You're going to lengthen your left leg long. If possible, tuck your right knee down under your chair. There's not really space for the bar on mine, but that's okay. I'm just going to use my foot tucked on the bar underneath my chair to help give me a little bit of support. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, folding over your straight leg, reaching as far as you can towards your left foot. If you're seated on the ground, that's just bringing your right knee tucked into your chest, reaching forward towards your left foot. Inhaling, coming back up to center, switching our legs out. We're going to straighten our right leg, tuck our left leg as much as possible under our chair, but still supporting ourselves. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, walking down forward over your right leg, reaching towards the foot on the leg that is stretched out long. Coming back up to our seated position. You can shake your legs out. Return so you're seated fully on your chair. Again, finding that space where your muscles and bones are in alignment with gravity. We're going to inhale both our arms up. Exhale, opening our arms to the side, elbows bent to a 90-degree angle, cactusing out. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to cactus our arms down. Your left arm staying as it is. Your right hand is going to drop forward, parallel with your elbow, looking over your right shoulder, creating a little shoulder stretch. You can drop your hand down farther if it wants to go farther. Mine doesn't go all the way. And bringing your hand back up to cactus on the right side. This time looking over towards your left. Left hand drops down first parallel with your elbow. And then if it wants to, stretching a little bit farther. Returning that hand to cactus pose, inhaling, arms up, and exhaling, letting your arms drop. We're going to bring our right knee to our chest. You can interlace your fingers around your right knee and gently pull it towards your chest, tucking your chin, rounding your forehead as close to your knee as possible. Inhaling, returning your head to a neutral position, chin parallel to the floor. Kicking out your foot, knee stays bent, and if possible, grabbing the bottom of your foot or your big toe with your hands. If not available, you can always grab your ankle. Coming into a half happy baby. You can play around with a little bit of a twist. See what happens if you bring your foot to the left side. An opening, see what happens if you bring your foot to the right side. I notice my body doesn't want to open as much that way. And exhaling, letting that foot drop down to the ground. Inhaling, bringing your left knee to your chest, interlacing your fingers around your knee. Tucking your chin to your chest, forehead drop down towards your knee. Again, extending your foot, shin parallel to the floor, reaching for your ankle, your toes, the bottom of your foot for a half happy baby. And seeing where your foot wants to move. What happens if you cross your left foot over in front of your body? What happens if you open that left foot out to the side? Bringing it back to center and dropping it down. We're going to play with our first little bit of balance practice today. If you're seated on the floor, you can just come to a crisscross position. If you're on your chair and it's available to you, you can bring your legs up onto your seat in a crisscross position. You'll want to watch and make sure you actually don't fall off your chair. Of course, you can always keep your feet down on the ground as well, or use your hands to lift your feet up off the floor by supporting your knees. I'm going to do the adaptation that has the most stability and then build from there. So we're going to start as we were earlier by rolling our body around. This time we're going to keep our neck in alignment with our spine so we don't injure ourselves. And just gently see what happens as you reach the edge of where your balance is. Your hips might lift up a little bit off of your chair or off of the floor until it feels like you're just about to fall, but you don't actually fall. As I mentioned earlier, this is when our body starts to catch ourselves. You want that feeling of catching yourself right before you're about to fall. Because that's when our brain is like, we need something now. We need new brain cells to help us figure out how to survive this situation. We're not in danger, but we want to grow. We want to learn. We want to adapt right now. Yoga practice can be silly and fun. It doesn't have to be serious. So as you are balancing around on your chair, it's okay if you feel a little silly or a little weird, but you're letting your brain grow. All right. And coming back again to a moment of stillness. Taking a breath in. Closing your eyes, even if just for a moment. One of the most important parts of learning and allowing our brain to grow is taking these moments of rest. A little moment of awake sleep. To let your body integrate what just happened. Before I transition to our standing flow for today, I wanted to go ahead and teach one of my favorite things, which is called brain gymnastics. And so brain gymnastics, we're going to be using our hands to build some of our small motor movements. And I'll demonstrate a few. There's a million online that you can look up if you just search brain gymnastics, but these are some of my favorites. Okay, so wherever you are in your seated, comfortable position, you're going to take your hands, and the first thing you're going to do is open them so that they are palms facing each other. Bring all of the fingers on your right hand together, and like a little bird, poke the middle of the palm on the left. Open your right hand, make a bird face with your left hand, and poke the middle of your right palm. And just alternate back and forth between these two movements and see how fast you can do them. All right, a second one to try. You're going to bring all of the fingers on your hands together as if you're holding a ball in between your palms. Starting with your thumbs, you're going to disconnect your thumbs and start to rotate or twiddle your thumbs around each other. Let your thumbs connect. Disconnect your index fingers and start to rotate those around each other. This can be done in your lap, off to the side, wherever you want. I just have it up here so that you can see. Connect your index fingers, disconnect your middle fingers, and start to rotate without touching each other, your middle fingers around each other. Connect the points of your middle fingers and start to rotate your index fingers. This one is the hardest one for me. Around each other. Whoop. See, I let my middle finger slip there. Okay. Connect your index fingers and let your pinky fingers rotate around each other. You can go in either direction, mix up the directions, connect your pinky fingers. And the last one that I will teach you for today, and it's the trickiest one for me. So let's see if I can remember. You'll stick out your right thumb and your left pinky, and then at the same time, switch them. So sticking out your left thumb, right pinky. My left thumb today just wants to be in the action. So Try to go as fast as possible. Left pinky, right thumb. Left thumb, right pinky. This one is the trickiest one for me, and my thumbs are just very active today, especially. So you can practice these whenever you want. If you're at the doctor's office waiting, if you're in a work meeting and you are just wanting a little bit more brain activity, as we sometimes do in work meetings, you can just go ahead and practice some of these brain gymnastics, and you can just do them in your lap so they can be pretty inconspicuous as well. All right, we're going to transition to our standing flow for today, bringing in a lot of these same tools. I'm going to move my chair to the side because we won't be needing it for today. So if you have your mat in your office with you, you can go ahead and transition there. We're going to start today on our hands and knees doing a snake flow. So starting from our tabletop position, knees below hips, wrist below shoulders. We're gonna bring our, we're gonna keep our feet actually parallel to the length of our mat. Drop our hips back down on our heels. And normally in child's pose, you would walk your hands forward, but you wanna keep your hands in the same spot today, even if it means you bend your elbows a little bit coming into child's pose. So start here in child's pose, let your head rest on the mat. And take a couple breaths. This is a passive pose right now. Just let everything come down to the mat. Inhale, press back up into into tabletop pose. So the reason I didn't move my hands is because I want to be able to flow from child's pose into tabletop without moving my feet, my knees, or my hands. We're gonna exhale to round our spine, let all of our air out. Tucking our chin to our chest. Inhaling, dropping our belly down, raising our chin to the sky. As always in cat and cow, you can move your spine the way it wants to move. You can look over your left shoulder to your left hip, your right shoulder to your right hip. And the third move in our little flow that we'll be building is going to be cobra. So we're going to shift forward, shift straighten our hips, bend our elbows, and come down to the mat. Inhaling, uplifting just our chest. And when we exhale, we're going to come all the way back through to child's pose. So I'll guide us through this little flow. If you get lost, you can always make up your own thing or just stay in child's pose. So starting in child's pose, we're going to take an inhale. And as we exhale, coming up immediately into cat. Inhaling, dropping down into cow. Exhaling, falling all the way down the mat. And inhaling, chest up to cobra. Exhaling all the way back down to child's pose. Pausing for an inhale. Exhaling up to cat. Inhaling to cow. Exhaling down to the mat. Inhaling to cobra. Exhaling back down to child's pose. We'll be moving through this flow a few more times. You can begin to sync your breath to it. You can begin to move at your own pace. First, exhaling into cow. Out. Down to the mat. I gotta tell you, the sun on my face here feels so lovely. Inhaling to cobra. And back down to child's pose. Let's do this 2 more times at your own pace. Making your way wherever you're at, meeting in child's pose. Taking a breath here before we come back to our tabletop position. We're going to tuck our toes under, press up into our knees, into our downward dog, hips raised to the sky. Spine straight. I got to adjust my hands here. Shoulders drop down to the mat. You can pedal out your feet, wiggle out your legs. And we're going to slowly walk forward. Rise up at the top of our mat and come into mountain pose. So checking our alignment here, one of the first things we want to do, today we're going to focus on our feet since we're focusing on balance. So normally I cue to ground through the 4 corners of your feet, but today we're going to pick a side. So you might begin just by lifting up your toes and seeing what happens to your balance as most of the weight is in the back of your foot in your heels. You can roll forward, up onto your toes, lifting your heels. And you can roll to the left side of your foot as well. So lifting your left big toe and your right pinky toe. And rolling to the opposite side, lifting your right big toe and your left pinky toe. Take a moment just to play with rocking around on your feet. Again, you can bring in some of that neuroplasticity by seeing how far you can get to the edge of your balance right before you feel like you're about to fall over. For me, it feels like my chest gets really tickly, like I'm a little bit afraid, but also a little bit excited. All right, now we're going to plant and ground through all 4 corners of our feet, stacking our knees above our ankles, hips above our knees, shoulders above our hips. Inhale, we're going to raise our arms up. Exhale, sink our hips down, coming into chair pose. Inhale, straightening through our legs, folding our hands down into forward fold. Inhaling, sinking our hips again, coming back into chair pose. You can choose to stay in chair pose or return to mountain pose. But what we're going to be doing is sticking our thumbs out in front of us, and one at a time, following your gaze on your thumb, bring your thumb to your nose. So watching your left thumb as it comes to your nose, watching your right thumb as it comes to your nose, from straight out in front of you. Building a little bit of focus and some proprioception awareness of our extremities. Exhaling, straightening your legs, sinking back down into that forward fold. And inhaling, halfway lift. Exhaling, forward fold before rolling our spine back up into mountain pose. At the top of your mat, we're going to start just by swinging our arms from side to side. Notice the difference if you let the movement come from your shoulders or come from your hips. Start adding in your feet by lifting your heels as you swing to the opposite side. And slowing down our arm swing, we're going to come back into mountain pose at the top of our mat. I'd like you to take a step back and stand as I am in the middle of your mat lengthwise. First thing we're going to do is inhale our arms up, exhale down into our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, hands on shins or knees. Exhale into that forward fold. And let your spine roll vertebrae by vertebrae up, your head being the last thing that reaches the top. Now, a new way we're going to enter this forward fold. We're going to inhale, raise our arms up. Exhale, drop our arms to the side. And with a straight back, we're going to engage our core and slowly lower down. Inhaling, straight spine. Engaging your legs to help bring your upper body up to standing. Let your arms drop. You're going to heel toe your feet so they're a little bit wider. Inhale your arms up. Exhale out to the side, straight back. Lower your body down. Pause for a breath. Engage your legs. Squeeze your glutes. Let your lower body help your upper body come back up. Relax your arms. Heel toe your legs a little bit wider. Inhale your arms up. Exhale out to the side. Straight back. Let your upper body fold down. This time, inhale, halfway lift. Drop your right arm down to the mat. Left arm up to the sky. Gaze follows your left hand up. Press into the mat with your left foot so that your right hip isn't dropping. Take a breath in, exhale, switch out your hands. Left hand comes down to the mat. Right hand comes up to the sky. Press into the mat with your right foot to recenter your hips. Drop your right hand down to the mat. We're going to inhale again with our straight back, all the way up to the top. Turn your toes facing the top of your mat. Your left foot is gonna come out a little bit so you have a bit of a wider stance. Legs are straight. Fold over your right leg. If your hands reach the mat, that's great. If they don't, you can place them on your knee, which is also great. Inhale, pressing back up. We're going to rotate our feet, passing through the middle, tucking our toes out at a 45-degree angle, dropping into a squat, raising our arms to also at 90-degree angles outside of our body, coming into goddess pose. From this place, you can choose to stay in goddess pose or you can stand to give your legs a little bit of a break. Either one is great. We're going to bring our thumbs back in. Look to the right, bring your right thumb to your nose and replace it. Look to the left, bring your left thumb to your nose and replace it. Look straight ahead and see if your eyes can still track your right thumb coming to your nose. Looking straight ahead, seeing if your eyes can track your left thumb coming to your nose. And back. Exhaling, straightening your leg, releasing your arms, turning your toes to the right, knocking your right foot out a little bit so you have a bit of a wider stance. Straightening your leg, always keeping a little bit of a bend in your knees, and folding over your left foot. Inhaling, coming back up to center. This time stepping to the back of your mat or wherever you are at in your mat, at one of the ends. Walk to the middle of your mat, facing one of the short sides. We're gonna pick up our right leg and begin to swing it slowly, or kind of quickly, I guess it is today. You can bring your arms in to add some balance. And whenever your body is ready, you're going to drop that back foot behind you, heel lifted, front leg bent just a little bit, arms swing up, coming into crescent pose. Picking up off that foot, letting your arms drop, coming back into that right leg swing. This time letting it drop in front of you. Left heel gets lifted, right leg bent a little bit, arms raise up into crescent pose. Weight goes back on your back foot, meeting in the middle of the mat. This time, lifting your left foot and letting your left leg swing back and forth. When you're ready, let your left foot drop behind you. You're going to twist your heel, maybe inch your front foot forward a little bit. Arms open wide. Sorry, I'm not facing you guys. Maybe I should do it this way. Coming into our warrior two, arms open wide, gaze in front of your front palm. Coming back to the center of your mat, swinging that left leg again. This time letting it drop in front of you. Now I'm backwards again. Turning your right foot parallel to the short side of the mat. Arms stretch out in front of you. Gaze is over your front hand, warrior two. Coming back to the center of the mat, releasing that pose. You can shake out your legs, shake out your arms. We're gonna inhale our arms up overhead and exhale, just make our way to a seated position on the mat. Just gonna check the time real quick. Great. All right, in our seated position here, since we've tried it in two different ways, we're going to try it for sure seated on the mat today. So again, just beginning with some small circles, letting your hips raise, finding our center of balance, finding off center of balance, letting yourself be a little bit silly. You might notice kids love to spin around. Kids love to get a little bit dizzy and lose their balance. And their brains are always growing. And coming back to find some stillness in a seated position. Inhaling, raising our arms up. Exhaling, cactusing our arms out to the side, squeezing our shoulder blades in the back. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, arms out long and wide. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine. Exhaling, seeing if you can squeeze your shoulder blades together, imagining a string between the back of your palm, the back of your hands, pulling your hands closer together behind your back. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cross your arms in front of you, giving yourself a hug. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, round over, roll over. Inhale, returning to a neutral position. This time, dropping into our meditation before we get to Shavasana, like we did at the beginning of class today. First, building awareness with our breath. And then in our mind's eye, without moving, imagine your body laying on your yoga mat or on the floor or some position that feels appropriate for work for Shavasana. Imagine in your mind's eye your body moving to that position. Inhaling. And as you exhale, let your real body move into position and align with the place that you imagined. Inhale to lock it in. Let your imaginary body, your energetic body, and your physical body come into alignment. My voice will guide you out of Shavasana when it is time. For now, you can let yourself relax. Let yourself notice your breath and then let it go. Let yourself remember what you learned today and then let it go. Integration is one of the most important parts for helping any part of our body grow, including our brain. Best way we can integrate is by giving ourselves time and allowing ourselves to breathe. give lots of new blood and oxygen to our cells. When you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring some light into your eyes, blink them open. Begin by rocking your body, rolling to one side and coming to a seated position. Inhaling your arms up overhead. Exhaling, bringing your hands to heart center or crossing over your chest to give you a hug. Offering yourself some gratitude for today's practice. Offering some thanks for your brain. Thank you all for joining me today. Next week, we will be doing more on neuroplasticity. And I hope to see you all then. Thank you and have a good rest of your workday.